Hey, what nuts, Humpty Dump Dots, and everybody else. It is Tuesday, December 17th in the United States and Canada, and this is a show called What Chaos. It's presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. I am sitting in a room with Pete Blackburn and Sean DePaz. Hello, Pete Blackburn.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Loaded show today, absolutely insane show. So, Pete, why don't you tell them what's going to be on it?
Let me see. There it is. Today on What Chaos, December 2024. Oh, what a night. I know that's the song, yes, but it was a good night for hockey, so I'm assuming that's what it was. We are joined by Bob Stauffer to talk about the Oilers-Panthers Stanley Cup final rematch game last night. Was a cocaine circus. What a great time. Foligno and Hall, Nick Foligno and Taylor Hall will join the show later in the program. They were awesome. All the parts of that conversation were very fun, except for the part where they talk about being super depressed that the Bruins lost a couple of years ago. And
then DJ decided to take a shot at the Bills in the middle of that. It didn't really register with me.
I don't remember doing that.
Well, you'll see it in the interview.
It didn't make me sad. It didn't make me sad. The Bruins stuff made me sad. And finally, we have a Sherwood celebration, and we're not talking about the hockey brand Sherwood. We are talking about the one and only, the GOAT, the motherfucking Kiefer Sherwood. We said last night during the Slate Grade, it is a Kiefer Sherwood bowl. And boy, was that ever the bowl of all bowls. Some would call it the Super Bowl.
That's very good. I'm disappointed that you couldn't figure out what a night meant.
It took me a second, but I'm guessing it's the slate.
It was a slate. It was an A, and it was very well earned because last night.
Pretty good.
I do feel like when you see an A, especially in quotation marks, you kind of gotta make that leap that it's a.
The quotes
Slate
are
grade.
saying
no, but I mean in hockey,
here.
famously A means
the
assistant captain or alternate captain,
Oh.
And I thought
understand
you were just
it
like
taking a second, but I feel like you got to get there.
It probably was on me.
Gonna sneak in a drop of news before we get to the A grade talk. Anthony Stolarz out 4 to 6 weeks after an MRI revealed a pebble in his knee. That is per Brad Treliving. A pebble.
Also news.
How does that work?
Someone mentioned in the chat there is no Taylor Hall in morning skate for the
Very
Blackhawks.
interesting.
Oh.
We did not. I think we talked about him getting traded in the past, but we did not talk about him getting traded in the future when we sat down with Taylor Hall. So who knows? We're going to get to that in a minute. We do quickly before we get to our conversation with Bob Stauffer, which is fantastic because he's the best. And no, anybody who's crying, it's not just about the Oilers. It's about a bunch of stuff. It's, as usual with Bob, about his looks and also about the Bruins a lot. We never talk about them. A grade was earned last night. The Stars beat the Caps at home on a 2-goal night from Rupe Hintz. I tweeted last night, I've been grading slates my whole life. Since the day I was born. I came out, my first word was?
Slate Grade.
A-. I came out that womb and I was like,
I don't like this.
A-, Mom. I hit the world and I said A-. I reached the world and I said A-.
Cradled by the doctor. A-.
Yeah, I got the doctor. I was like, first person I'm meeting is a doctor? That's kind of cool.
Only down from there.
Only down from there. Shut up my family. It was nice to meet them. But generally, the whole world experience so far, A-. Shouldn't be giving the world a platform. Anyway, Stars beat the Caps at home on a 2-goal night from Rupe Hintz. This was only 3 games last night. It started at 8 p.m. So the idea of a 3-gamer on a Monday night that starts at 8 with a wacky structure getting an A felt kind of risky. I watched the beginning of that Stars-Caps games, and I'm like, you know what? This is off to a good start. We got the Cup final rematch coming up. What do we got here? And it was an absolute disaster. Goaltending was optional. Bob was terrible. Stu was good for a little bit. And then Stu was, get this, terrible. The Oilers blew a 2-goal lead. For the second straight game, they allowed 2 goals in 30 seconds. They're just a lot of fun right now.
It's pretty good.
Even though they're playing really good hockey, they just sucked last night. Evan Bouchard was bad.
But that's what I want. That's what I want. I wanted like everything that I wanted from that game and from the Oilers I got last night, except for the fact that it was on NHL Network and I missed the first half, and then I had to sign up for Fubo halfway through the game because you convinced me that it was such an awesome game.
Yeah, well, it was.
Guess who's on Fubo again, baby? This guy.
One of us needs to be on Fubo at all times. So, Sean, if Pete lapses.
Well, I'm locked in through the end of the World Junior Championship, so.
Oh, that's smart. World Junior Championships and January 5th?
Around there, yeah. It's like 2 weeks from Christmas to the beginning of January.
Maybe we get on somebody maybe you get on a prominent player from the World Junior Championship. I don't know. Who knows what ends up happening?
Ryan Leonard, please.
I don't know. Let's see.
Okay.
There's been word that Ryan Leonard is interested in coming on this show.
Heard that.
There also is word that Darnell Nurse said something to Kelly Sutherland, and I'm not a big ref show guy. Bob says with us, it's a loser's lament to complain about the refs. You know what that's always been like football, whatever sport. Shut up.
No hit chat, no ref chat. Let's move on.
But I'm interested because Darnell Nurse basically got teed up. After taking a tripping penalty on his way to the box, he said something, and Kelly Sutherland teed him up. Darnell Nurse does not strike me as I'm not trying to judge a book by its cover, but like kind of boring guy. Doesn't seem
when he gets mic'd up, he is a little chatty. I mean, he was the gas up the bird guy during the playoffs last year.
And he was fun. He's been doing this.
Yeah, I think he's got a little talkative in him.
Do you think he's got like hate speech in him?
Probably not. I don't know.
Because he was a fine line. I was talking to Sean before the show. I'm like, I don't want to say he better have said something horrible. I'm not rooting for anybody to say anything bad, but that better have been worth it. Because it ended up costing the Oilers a goal, but whatever. They were going to allow a goal in that game anyway.
I mean, if Mike from Woburn is in the chat, he's got thoughts on Kelly Sutherland and how he officiates games.
What do you think have you heard them before?
Oh, I've heard him.
Oh, interesting.
I've heard him.
I've seen him. I've read him.
Really? Yeah. Does it happen in the chat? Wait? So Mike shares these thoughts.
So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. I'm going to maybe after the show. Michael Curtis says, Nurse told Sutherland to stop ruining hockey games. If you don't know our friend Mike from Woburn, he is he's as affected by sports as we all are.
I feel like he hates two things: professional sports refs and bike lanes.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was going to say he's affected by sports as strongly as the three of us are, but he is exasperated and infuriated way more than either of us, and still a bit more than Sean.
To be fair, though, he doesn't hate all officials, and this is why I respect Mike, because anybody can complain about officials and officiating. When you take it to a new level is when you name the officials and you cite specific examples of them wronging you over the course of your life, and you basically have a mental notebook of every time one specific official has done something wrong. So Michael Curtis, add it to Kelly Sutherland's notebook. It was quite a night for him last night.
He and I had
sorry, go ahead.
No, we had a brief UFC conversation over the weekend on Twitter as well. So that's another thing that he's interested in.
Love it. And to kind of round out the stuff that happened last night, Kiefer Sherwood scored a goal at even strength. He scored a goal short-handed, and he scored an empty netter after his first 2 goals. There were chants of Kiefer Sherwood. It was the best.
We're getting to this.
We are on. I'm saying what happened last night. We'll do that stuff later in the show.
Report.
We'll do that stuff later in the show. We requested Kiefer Sherwood earlier in the season, and the Canucks are not easy to deal with. So that's just on them. Pete has been a card-carrying member of the Kiefer Sherwood club. So this should have been a moment where we were like, our guy, amazing. This is the best. And instead, it's just,
oh no, it was still the best.
Amazing. This is the best. Yeah, but we don't know him.
He's still our guy. I kind of like that we don't know him. I said this, somebody said, get him on the podcast last night on Twitter. Kiefer Sherwood seems like a guy who would fucking hate us. And I love that about him.
Okay. Let's get to the great Bob Stauffer. Here he is. Bob Stauffer, first Bob episode of the regular season. Oilers Radio, Oilers Now, the best. What's up, Bob?
Oh, just, sometimes you got to play a little hurt. I have to get a little dental work done on Friday, but the swelling hasn't gone down. And I'm at the stage now where I'm so ugly, it doesn't matter how I appear anymore. So I just go with it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
There he goes, right off the only thing we don't like about Bob is he comes in and he's like, we're like, we've got the GOAT. And he's like, well, yeah, who could love me? We're like, you're fucking Bob Stauffer.
Also, I mean, it probably helps make you feel better to look at Zach Hyman's face this morning.
Oh man, well that's going to happen when you're the net front, right? You get pucks deflecting and ricochet. Those are always scary. That was you always worry about that. I worry the most when I see a player kick their feet on the ice. That's when I have the greatest amount of concern, because usually that's a sign they get it in the eye or something. When a guy can skate himself off the ice, which is also part of what Zach Hyman is. It shows you, the toughness that he has. I mean, he's a classic overachiever, and he's tough as nails. And he, along with Matthias Ekholm, have been two of the players that, in fairness, Ken Holland brought in that really kind of added some support to the Oilers leadership core of McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Darnell Nurse, that really helped transform Edmonton from a good team to a pretty good team. And a pretty good team wins, around 50 games a year, and that's what Edmonton's done each of the last 3 seasons.
Well, had you told me to guess 30 minutes into the game last night, what is Evan Bouchard going to do next, I probably would have guessed almost kill one of his teammates, because things had gone so poorly for him. But you bring up Zach Hyman and you bring up Matthias Ekholm and the type of players that they are. This kind of feeds into the main thing we want to talk about. We've watched the Oilers now play 2 teams, Vegas and Florida, and I guess to a degree Minnesota, who figure to be standing between them and the Stanley Cup. Do you think this team, with what they've got, is positioned to beat those teams in a series?
I don't know. Like, Minnesota's been a bad matchup for Edmonton for the last couple of years. But saying that, I think if you looked at the analytics in Minnesota, I think Minnesota is really well managed, first of all, with Bill Guerin. In fact, all 3 of the teams that Edmonton's just played on this run are really well managed organizations. But I thought Minnesota's record was a little bit deceiving. I didn't think they were that good. And then they had some injuries, and they didn't have Eriksson Ek, and they didn't have Jonas Brodin, and they layer up against Connor McDavid and make him go, through first Eriksson Ek, then Brodin, and then they got, Connor's got to beat the goalie. So that was, Middleton got hurt first shift of the game, and it completely changed the complexion of that game. So Minnesota has been a tough out. I just don't know how good they are. Vegas is legitimately good. Like, Vegas was one of the first times the Oilers have played Vegas in the last couple seasons where the Golden Knights have been completely healthy, and they have strength down the spine. So they have 4 great centers. They have a big defense. You guys know Cassidy pretty well. He plays zone defense as well as anybody in this league. And they have the type of D that can play it. They confront pucks. It's difficult to penetrate the box on those guys and get inside into the high rent district. Edmonton went into Vegas probably about 2 weeks ago, played one of their best games of the year, outshot the Golden Knights 16-2. That game, the Oilers deserved to win. The game Saturday afternoon at Rogers Place, I thought the Oilers, frankly, were a little bit lucky. Vegas was coming at Edmonton in waves, and the Oilers were able to, kind of fend it off. And Stuart Skinner had, at that point, his 6th consecutive start where, he gave the goals saved above expectation were on the positive side of the ledger. Gave the Oilers, he was the better of the 2 goaltenders between him and Aiden Hill. Last night against Florida, that was an ugly game. Both teams, if I was, Maurice or Chris Knobloch, I wouldn't have been happy with how my team played. It was a beautiful game to watch because there was lots of goals and a little bit of scrappiness in the game as well. Florida didn't have Barkov. I think Edmonton squandered an opportunity against a pretty good team, and Stewart had a tough game. And then on the back end, Evan Bouchard had maybe his most challenging night. He did get tweaked with a hit against Minnesota, and I don't think he's at 100%. I don't think he's completely comfortable right now. But those are 3 good teams. I frankly see Vegas and Florida at a little bit different level than Minnesota. I mean, you're talking about the last 2 Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we've kind of put Minnesota in that lower category as well. You mentioned Saturday and last night, like the Oilers kind of got leaned on a little bit, and things can come apart for Edmonton. They got a little lucky on Saturday with Jeff Skinner bouncing back and getting back that goal that Stu gave away. Like, do you see that becoming a problem for that team down the road, and how would they fix it, or how would you try to fix it?
Pete, I'm old school. Okay, like when the Oilers. I grew up watching the greatest offensive dynasty in the history of the National Hockey League, the most electrifying, exciting team that's ever lived. But they also had toughness. Like, they had tough teams. They were a top 3 tough team in the NHL as well. Like, in the first couple Stanley Cup, Dave Semenko in the early 1980s was a top 3 fighter in the league and maybe the best enforcer because he would tune the rats once in a while too. Like, there's some fighters that wouldn't necessarily go after sort of the smaller agitators. And if Semenko had to, he'd send a message. And then, they're the sort of the 86, 87, 88. I mean, they picked up McClelland for the first cup. He scored arguably the biggest goal in team history. And pound for pound, he might have been the toughest guy on the team. And then by 80, the second of the back-to-backs, Marty McSorley was there. And Marty was a very effective, player along McClellan. So I've always felt you needed that, and you do it differently today. You do it with a little bit of firmness and competitiveness. I think you raise a very valid point, Pete, and it's one that's got me like. I think they've got to add. They got to find a way to add a bigger right shot center. They have a guy on the farm, Noah Phillip. He's not a super aggressive player. He took a year away from hockey. He's got to play some games. But if I was the Oilers, I'd find a way to test drive him, possibly in February, just to see if he can handle it. Otherwise, I think they're going to have to make a trade. Now, Colson's given them a little bit of physicality, but
punched
there's
a hole in a guy's head.
Pardon me?
He punched a hole in a guy's head, straight through Jeremy Lauzon's forehead.
Well, think of what happened last night. Like, AJ Greer did a number on Colson in Colson's first ever NHL fight, and last night, AJ Greer hits Colson straight in the back from behind into the boards. That could have been I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to. It's a loser's lament to whine about officiating. So some guys would have stayed down on the ice and tried to milk that, and he got up and went right back at a guy who'd previously won, one of the few fights he's had in the NHL career against him. So I'm liking what Colson brings, but Pete, I tend to agree with you. I think they could use a little bit more size up front. I think the dynamic will change a little bit with their forward groups. And then on defense, they're adding something at some point. I don't know if it's going to be a right shot. It could be a left shot that plays the right side. It doesn't have to be a shutdown guy or a cycle stopper. It could be a guy that can move the puck, and maybe that's how you play, is you just have another transition guy that can get the puck up the ice. But they will be adding a defenseman. And then they have a wild card. And the wild card is Evander Kane. I had him on my show on Friday. He's not. He has yet to start skating. If they get the Evander Kane from the 2022 playoffs, where he was a menace out there and was engaging in psychological warfare on the ice, that's a really good player. And the reality is, by the Stanley Cup final last year against Florida, he just was not right and could not help Edmonton. He couldn't get there. But Evander Kane can be a force, and Evander Kane is prepared to do things that fewer and fewer players are willing to do these days. So he is a total wild card for me for Edmonton.
And the defense was terrible last night, but the thing that we've been talking about more and more recently is Darnell Nurse. And yeah, he got the basically teed up yesterday and didn't have his finest night, but he's been awesome of late and really most of the season. Is it just that he's healthy, and how much does his season change what type of defenseman they need to get now?
Well, that's a good point. I think Brett Kulak's played a factor in maybe what type of defenseman they need as well. It's funny with Darnell. He's plus 17 in the last 18 games. Some people think that's too base level of a stat. I do tend to agree with you, DJ. Like, he battled. Like, I know he was hurt during the playoffs last year. He was not running. Lots of guys get hurt. There's lots of players that play through things. He's obviously playing a little bit better. To me, he's figuring out a little bit that less is more. Like, we watched Chris Connor in his prime here. That guy could play the game in a rocking chair. It was only 1 year, But man, oh man, he could play half the game and still provide an intimidating presence occasionally with when he decided to assert himself in the game. But Darnell, this is about as best that we've seen Darnell play in the last 2 or 3 years.
How many guys would you put above Leon Draisaitl in the Hart race at this point in time?
I think Kaprizov is there for sure. Like, he has to be. Minnesota's had a good year. I'm going to what do you guys think?
We were I think and I'm biased, I have Kaprizov ahead of Leon.
Yeah.
But if somebody were to say, oh, I go Draisaitl, I go the center over the winger, and I go the center over who, earmuffs Pete, is playing with Vasily Podkolzin on the second line.
I mean, Kasperi Kapanen, like waiver wire pickup. That's the guy you should be targeting there.
Like, Pete's always been big on people complain that, hey, you don't give Draisaitl line mates, but he's just this never-ending proof that, do you really need to? So I am endlessly impressed with Draisaitl's season thus far. But I would still have Kaprizov ahead of him, but like, he is right there. And last night on that first Hyman goal, looking a little bit Selke-ish as well.
Yeah, it's funny. They loaded up McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman, in the third. Of course, Hyman was coming off the blocked slap shot off his face and had the bubble on. And I think for some players, I wonder whether or not if Hyman didn't have that bubble on, if he finishes one of the attempts that he had in the third period. Like, it's a little bit of an adjustment for some guys. It's funny with Leon. He likes playing with Podkolzin because Podkolzin's good on puck retrievals and supports the play defensively. And then Kapanen's got Kapanen can skate. He's got some skill. But you raise a very valid point. Like, he is not playing with the Oilers' best offensive players, 5-5. And then they loaded up McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman. Those guys got dashed for -3 in the third period. And here's where I say to you, 2 of the 3 goals. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I hate being the guy looking back to the goals saved above expectation. 6 straight games, Stuart Skinner was above it. And last night, I think, depending upon which model you use, well, it's at minimum -3 in the game. So there, especially the goal that Reinhart scored on the 1-on-4. Now, it's a great shot, and part of that happens because of the way goalies play today. But the bottom line is, I can't go in. And it does occasionally go in, and when your guy puts it in, like a McDavid or Leon, which they've done before, where they drill it in off the goalie's ear, it's a great play, but it's frustrating when it happens against you. I'll give you another stat on Leon. Connor missed 3 games due to a lower body injury, the ankle injury against Columbus. The Oilers went 2-1 in those 3 games. The one game they lost was New Jersey on the second of a back-to-back, and they outshot New Jersey 31-16. So Draisaitl had 3 goals and 6 points, went +5 in those 3 games without Connor. So he raised. I don't think I need to sell, especially you guys who, of anybody outside the market of Edmonton that seem to have a fundamental understanding of all things Edmonton Oilers. It's the What Chaos podcast, but those guys are, Leon's a pretty special player. I think everybody in the league knows that.
And we're allowed to say that. I every time, because it's now twice that Stu has given up a devastating goal to Sam Reinhart. You see the Stu Skinner jersey behind me. I paid full retail. I love that man. But the goaltending last night, we're allowed to say, was terrible on both sides. Stu was good for 30 minutes, I would say. And then just when it rains, it pours. But I didn't get him ready for the show, but I wanted to show the stills of Reinhardt's angle, of Leon's angle, and of Connor Brown's angle. Both of those goalies were absolute assholes last night. I love them. Respect to those men, but they were assholes last night, and we're allowed to say it. I'll tell you who's not an asshole. It's you, Bob Stauffer. We're going to see you in a couple of weeks when you're in Boston.
Bring out the credit card, fellas, because I'm one cheap guy.
Oh,
let's go.
North
Hell
End.
yes.
North End, bring Jack, bring Gene, Louis, the whole gang.
So excited.
Oh,
that's
what's that?
You didn't even talk about the Bruins. What's going on with this team? I did some research. They were plus 128 a couple of years ago. Minus, what are they right now? They're -19.
I'll tell you what they are right now. They're hot right now. They came off a dominating win against the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday night.
I heard you on the broadcast last night saying, and they got Boston coming up, still trying to kind of figure out what Boston is. And I'm yelling at the radio. I'm saying, we were texting yesterday, Bob. I fucking told you what the Bruins are. And I told you guys are going to kill them.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad.
Well, the Oilers have been, I think, plus, what are we here? Let's see, plus 65, plus 57 the last 2 years, or plus 12 this year. They'll probably finish about plus 35 or 40 at worst, realistically. I mean, the schedule actually eases up in the final 50 games. I've watched Boston 3 or 4 times. I don't know what they are when I see them, but
Same.
they've had. Is that fair? Is that fair, you guys?
Same. I've watched every game. I don't know what they are. They're assholes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. When you were talking about, they need a right shot center with a little bit of size or whatever, I immediately Googled Charlie Coyle contract, because what if Boston ends up selling? That could be a guy that would be perfect for this team. It definitely wouldn't help the speed stuff with the Oilers, but I'm like, man, maybe you do a little scouting on, what is it, Thursday when they play? Yeah, maybe you do a little scouting.
By the way, how's Kastelik played?
Oh, he rocks. He's like one of their guys that does bring a little bit of everything. I've been pretty impressed by him. He was one of their only good forwards at the beginning of the season when everybody sucked.
Okay, figure out what I'm saying here. You asked me whether or not they need a little bit more size and bite, and I said, well, they could use a 4th line right shot center that's got a little bit of size and bite. I don't know about you, but does that Kastelik fit the bill?
I think that's Pete's second Oilers jersey. He still hasn't gotten his Jeff Skinner, but that's on the way. Bob, we appreciate you always. We can't wait to see you.
Awesome.
Oilers are going to kill the Bruins. Yep. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but I will tell you what, I'm going to be active on Prize Picks. I'm going to be DFSing over on everything. McDavid didn't score last night. Maybe he does it Thursday against the Bruins. I'm going to do that with Prize Picks, the only real money daily fantasy platform with injury insurance, with the opportunity to win 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. It's got everything. It's got everything you could want. It's got Drewski. It's got Joe Budden. It's got MMA champ Sean O'Malley. You can find them on community plays under the promos tab of the app. You can view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. So what more could you want? Winning 100 times your money on 4 correct picks, having injury insurance, and being able to withdraw quickly while being able to say, hey, you see that one, Drewski? And Drewski says, yes, good job.
Yes, DJ Bean. I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. And I said, Drewski, don't you have better things to do with your time? And he says,
he told me that he loves tailing you on Oilers picks.
He's been...
It's a real community over there.
He's not giving credit, though. He keeps saying, my Oilers pick hit. And I was like,
you sure about that?
You did. I don't know. Like, should Drewski be taking full credit there? Or I don't know. Is there just like kind of more to the story there that he's leaving out?
I just think that when you go up against somebody like Drewski, you're not going to win that battle. You can say, hey, those were my Oilers picks, not yours. And he says, I don't care.
Who are you?
And then everybody says, I don't care. We like Drewski.
Who is this person?
Yeah.
Drewski, stop giving this person a platform.
I love it. I've never met anybody that doesn't like Drewski.
I feel like Drewski was thrown for a loop by Caleb Presley.
Maybe thrown for a loop, but that doesn't mean that there was any dislike there.
Yeah, but like Drewski couldn't hang.
Oh, I disagree.
Like that was the first time I was like, damn, like Drewski can't hang right now. You know where he can hang? In the community section. The community plays with Prize Picks. My favorite daily fantasy sports platform. Download the app today and use code WhatChaos. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WhatChaos to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
And run to the Pro Sharp Bauer Advantage Skate Sharpener, because it is the perfect skate sharpener for all hockey players, families, and teams. That sharpener is fully automated, and it's extremely easy to use, even if you're a goaltender, because you can get goalie edges every time with Tendy mode. And if you want to stay sharp, nothing beats the sound of fresh steel on the ice, and that's why you got to get the Pro Sharp Bauer Advantage Skate Sharpener. So to learn more about it, go to Bauer.com/ProSharp and find the Bauer Pro Sharp Advantage Skate Sharpener and some cool clothes. That's Bauer.com/ProSharp.
Before we get to Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno, we'll do a we'll call it like a light like spike, maybe mainly a call to subscribe. If you're new and watching for the first time, make sure you press the subscribe button on YouTube, and if you are listening on a podcast or something to check out Hall and Foligno or hear the great words of Bob Stauffer, make sure you are subscribed everywhere. Pete, could you give them a light like spike right now?
Yeah, an early like spike. Hit that thumbs up button right below the video player. That is the like button. And also subscribe if you haven't yet.
Okay, here from the Chicago Blackhawks, looking ahead to some fun we're going to have in Chicago with them is Captain Nick Foligno and longtime NHL veteran Taylor Hall. Elephant in the room, we'll get it over with. Your OHL guys, what the fuck is happening with the teddy bear tosses?
I missed it. What do you know it?
You don't know it? I would think you would know it.
They got rid of it?
No.
They might have to.
Worse.
Because it is chaos. Tell them about Michael Misa.
I still love that.
Misa, they threw the teddy bears on the ice, and he was rocketing them back into the crowd, and he got suspended by the
Shut
OHL.
up. At home?
No, on the road.
Oh,
On the
so
road.
he was being a little bit.
of
Guys
a-
used to do it all the time. It was kind of fun.
It was
Just to fire them back, and then they throw them back over.
So that was our thing, was like giving more opportunity for people to throw it back on the ice.
And the OHL news came down. It was like, we have suspended Michael Misa, blah, blah. And we were like, okay, whatever. And then I think it was Merrick or somebody was like, they didn't suspend him for shooting objects out of the ice. They suspended him for this. And it was just like teddy bears, and he's shooting teddy bears. And then in the Barrie-Ottawa game a couple of days ago, they're throwing the teddy bears, and the teams just start fighting.
There was just a brawl on the ice as bears were raining
love
down.
it.
It was incredible.
I did watch a video of you, and you were, I think, probably a rookie, and you were talking about Jordan Eberle's teddy bear toss goal celebration. You said his team was like getting worked in the second period. They're down 4-0. He scores.
Is that when he did the umbrella?
And then he does like a fake umbrella.
Oh, yeah.
Here come the teddy bears.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man.
That's incredible.
They're down 4-1.
Yeah.
Oh.
I wanted to ask you at some point, I'll just do it now. What's weirder to you, Brad Marchand, the captain, or Jordan Eberle, the captain?
For me, it's Jordan Eberle. I can't get over it, honestly. I was like, I texted him congrats, but in the back of my mind, I was like, man, how old are we? Like, what the fuck is going on? You're a captain of a team? Like, I don't know. But good for him. Marshy's come a long way, and he's learned from some of the best. But for me, Ebs, I'm like, wow. Yeah.
One of my favorite tweets of all time is the Whitney tweet about you and Eberle playing hangman, and neither one of you knowing how to get banana split.
Yeah, that was a tough one. My IQ has gone up as I've gotten experience in the league. Witz was never afraid to show our faults on social media. That was a lot of fun playing with him.
I mean, you didn't do yourself any favors for a while either.
Yeah.
The boating license tweets were... I mean, you haven't tweeted in forever.
Yeah, no.
Were you, at some point, were you just like, this is not doing me any favors, I'm out of here?
I'm out, yeah.
Okay, what's the boating license tweet?
I think I was 19. This was back when, this was like the Wild West of Twitter, and you were just like saying whatever you wanted. Like I had to, a few years ago, I went back and deleted tweets that like, I was like, let's not.
We'll still get you. We'll find them.
If you do, please don't. But,
They're out there.
but I just, one day, like, I kept trying to get my boating license in Ontario online, and it's an open book exam, and I kept failing. Like, so I just was like, man, I just want to really get my license. What the fuck's going on? Anyways, so I ended up getting a guy to send me like a free one. And now to this day, like I have a boating license, like legit. I did it last summer. And boating scares the hell out of me. Like it is.
He said that to me. Like,
oh
it's
man,
chaos out
it's
there.
chaos out there.
Especially in
So
Muskokas.
that was my start to boating, and it's never made me feel comfortable.
Boating just goes from 0 to 1,000 in terms of like calm to like, if you don't listen and do what I say right now, we are all in danger. I don't do well with that.
Yeah. Well, it's just there's so many people, and you don't know what they're doing, what they've been drinking. And like in Muskoka, I've never seen a cop, like ever. I've never seen like Coast Guard cop or anything like that. So it's a little scary, but also a lot of fun.
My favorite tweet of yours was 2011, the Mavericks win the NBA title. And I don't know if you're, this is like inconsequential, but it was so funny to me. Dirk is like celebrating and he's like got his hands up and he's just like, he's so happy and he's walking and he's just like slowly walking off the court and it looks like he's just leaving. And you tweeted, Dirk, where are you going, bud?
He just left. I don't know, man. Basketball players do some hilarious stuff. I find like just the way that they kind of celebrate individually, and I don't know. It's funny to me sometimes.
Speaking of basketball, what's it like when you guys are in like a close game? It's like 2-1, third period, like timeout, and Bedard's talking about like Jaren Jackson's offensive game improving for the Grizzlies.
He was a big basketball nerd last year. I think he's transitioned into football this year a bit. He's like
more into football this
he
year.
loves football and he loves talking about fantasy. He put up 170 points on me in fantasy last weekend, actually. So he didn't make the playoffs, but his team was good.
That's what I love.
Why are you so happy that he didn't make the
Because I
playoffs?
honestly don't even pay attention to my team, and I'm in the playoffs, so I'm just pumped about that. Because Bedsy's hardcore.
You pay attention.
There's always
don't
one.
try and be
I'm
that
like,
cool.
yeah, but I don't even. Sometimes I like the other week I had to put up my whole Bills team. Like I forgot they're on a bye. That's my favorite team.
Yeah.
Scrambled and I
And
somehow
that's not
got
something to be
one.
proud of. You
No.
piss off everybody else in the league.
That's what happens when you're that
hate
good.
that.
You're
Yeah.
that good of a GM. It just comes natural.
Yeah.
How's our guy doing, Bedard? He's on. We say hunty. There's a word that rhymes with that. We apply it to certain players, and our chat on our show will send us clips and be like, Bedard was frustrated last night. Is he on hunty watch? I maintain he's not hunty. How's he doing in year 2?
I think he's going through it. I think it's just this is the reality of the NHL. I think any guy has gone through a little hard time, and it's so much more magnified because everybody wants to see greatness all the time from this kid, right? Like it's just that's the reality, and that's what he faces, and so does he, right? Like I think he's never struggled in his life, and so the first time it's kind of come a little hard to him. It's shocking to anybody, and you know I think he's working through it. I think his game's starting to come now, and but yeah, like it's more talked about because it's him. Anybody else would be like, he's going through it. You know, wish him the best. It's like, what's wrong with Connor? What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. He's a human. He's trying to find his game, and also he still does some things out there that are pretty impressive. It's just, you know, when he's not scoring 2 or 3 points a game or scoring, it's like, but he's made some plays. He made a nice one to Halsey last night, and I just think that's where, you know, as teammates you get a little frustrated for him because I don't think it helps, especially, you know, we're competitive too. We want to see him play well and do well, and but you also kind of know he's gonna have to go through it, and you can't. There's nothing I can do or say other than just support him. Same with Halsey, same with any guy on the team, and I think he's learning that. Like sometimes you got to pull yourself out of it, and it's good for him. You know?
So we're unabashed Bedard guys, fanboys. We're rooting for him all the way. The basketball comp that I kind of have for him, former Chicago guy, Jimmy Butler, where like when things weren't going so great at the beginning of his career, he was on some teams that people were like, is he a good teammate? Like ask all these questions. And once like everything kind of worked and arrived, like you realize that was actually a characteristic that a good team should have. So like, do people read too much into his facial expressions and all that? Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing, but yeah, probably for sure.
People slow down everything.
Yeah.
Good plays, bad plays, hits, looks, mic'd up.
He's not the most excitable kid, right? Like so I think people are like, oh, is he happy? And it's like, yeah, he's if you know him, he's not going to be like, hey, what's going on? He's not like me. Like, right? Hey, what's up, man? Like,
He's like that with us.
yeah, I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. No, but like, that's just, and you get used to that. But I think there's also a duty of ours to pull that out of him a little bit. I think that's good for him, right? Like to learn, like, yeah, you know what, I can be a little more excitable in certain areas, but that comes with time too. And he's just ultra competitive. Like he really does want to be the best, and it pisses him off when he's not. So he's not like, you know, looking for it's not always rainbows and butterflies for him, where he's like, I'm mad right now. I didn't have as many points as I'd like, or our team didn't win, or I'm frustrated with this. So he's always looking to improve, I find. But there is a way of doing that. Like I think that's what we're trying to teach him. And as an older guy, you're like, hey, if your game's not here, then make sure you're doing this, right? And I think he's learning that now. Like, all right, my game's got to be solid on the defensive side, so I'm not hurting the team. And then when the opportunity does come to make a play, I'm there, I can do it, and it helps us. So that's where he's going through it, and no different from him, myself. I mean, and it's just, like I said, more magnified because it's him.
Yeah, and I think, like, he had the puck the whole game in junior and his whole life. And some of the stuff he would do and, like, the points he would score, like 23 points in 7 games at the World Juniors, like against some of the best players. Like, he's never had to play this type of hockey. Like, this is a whole new game for him, honestly. Mm-hmm. And I think that I've seen some really good signs from him off the ice. And I think on the ice, like, once he figures out how to play, the game's going to be a lot easier for him. It's hard, man. Like, it is so hard when you go from having the puck all game and 2 minutes on the power play, playing like 30, 35 minutes a game in junior. Like, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I really enjoy hanging out with them. And I think that, like, the facial reactions and stuff, like, it's just because there's always a camera on them. Like, if there was a camera on me, like, that much, holy fuck! Like, some of the stuff I do and say on the bench, it would not be good.
And also, like, respectfully, like the score of the, like, you're losing a lot of these games.
Yeah, like,
so
I don't want him clowning around all the time.
So that's where I do that. That's where I think Jimmy Butler with him though, you want him to be mad when things aren't going well.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, well, I'm probably going to end up getting X amount of points this season, and all's well that ends well.
How much have you learned about him as a person over, like, the past year and change? Because, I mean, we talked to you last year in camp, and you were like, good luck. We're just trying to find out anything about him, and he doesn't do anything other than play hockey. So what have you learned over the past year or so?
He's a funny kid. Like, he's funny comments.
Yeah, he's got a good sense of humor. I think his personality is really starting to come out.
Yeah.
Like, I've said this to you a million times. Like, he never went to high school a day in his life, like, in person. Like, he did COVID. It was, like, online schooling. Like, I think there's a lot of stuff that he hasn't experienced in his life that, like, for me was a huge, like, social experience, right? So I think there's a lot of that, too. Like, he's around older guys now. He's starting to learn how to show his personality, and I think he has a great one. So, like, I've enjoyed it.
No, he's been good.
How's the coaching change been?
It's been honestly, it's been better. I mean, it's 2 games, but it has been better. And it's not a knock on Luke. It's just we weren't getting the job done with him, and he's a great man. And you feel bad as a player when that happens, right? Like, it's you take responsibility. I think all of us do. But at the end of the day, this is a results business, and I think Luke would be the first one to say that too. So I think Anders has come in and done a really good job of giving us what we need, a little shot in the arm. I think his details and his habits and what he's asking of us is where we're all feeling we need to go with it, and it's been good. I really liked, even in one practice, our game. And I know we didn't get the job done against Winnipeg, but I liked what I saw, and I knew with a little bit more time we could get to it more often. And then the New York game, we found it a little bit more, and we're able to get the next goal and hold on. That was our issue. Is like with Luke, it just seemed like our details and habits weren't as strong as they needed to be. So when a team would push, we would crumble. And last night was a good sign. A team pushed, and we hung in there.
Yeah, like, we outshot them 10-7, holding on to a 2-1 lead at MSG. Like, I know they were on a back-to-back, but that's a really good sign that we're on our toes. We're pushing no matter what the score is. So I think that's what you're going to see more from us, hopefully, in the next little bit.
Did you guys hear from Pasta about him? Because our first reaction when they made that move, he was Pasta's assistant coach at Södertälje in Sweden, and that even, I think, came because he was like William Nylander's personal coach in Chicago when William Nylander was.
Is that what it was?
Playing here?
I think he's really close with Willie.
Yeah, he was like, my understanding, like, William Nylander's like shepherd, other than like Michael Nylander, who William Nylander also knows.
Kind of looks like or Michael Nylander.
Yeah, he
too.
does.
Anders.
Yeah, I think that those two were buddies.
True.
Honestly, he looks
same,
like
but,
you a bit too.
I know. I saw it.
Something about
we were in the mirror. Dude, I swear to God, we were in the mirror together again before the game. And I was like, Jesus, I look like the coach.
We got to get you, him, Nick Sirianni. You got to get. It'll be the Spider-Man meme.
How do you feel about the Nick Sirianni comp?
I mean, whatever.
ups and
It's an
downs?
obvious.
Yeah.
It's an obvious
Yeah.
one.
When I had
it's
hair,
similar
He's
guys.
buzzing right now.
Yeah, he's buzzing. He's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So good.
But-
No, I don't mind the guy. He shows a little emotion. I mean, it's a little too much sometimes, but
Is that just the Italian in him? You think?
probably.
Just a little
I mean, when he
fiery?
what game was it where he was going at the fans? I was like, what are you doing? But it's I don't know.
Facing the wrong way, bud.
Yeah.
And then he
Like,
brought his kids to the post-game presser so
Yeah,
they wouldn't ask him
grill
about
it.
it.
Yeah, that's actually a fucking great move.
I know.
Oh no, that is such
That's so
coward
good. Put your
behavior.
kid right in front of everybody.
That
you know?
is such coward behavior.
While we're doing ball jokes, how tough is it when you look at Marcus and you're like, what the fuck?
I know it's bullshit.
It's
It's
crazy.
honestly bullshit.
You look good bald though.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man,
like
yeah.
you're both very handsome.
Yeah.
The hair is just so different.
super handsome.
You
no,
are.
it's just and Marcus is just it pisses me off. Yeah,
No,
he's
what-
just had it like really easy his whole life. You know,
You're
just tall, handsome.
when you had hair, you looked like you would be like a business guy on the show 24, where like they have to go and they got to get a file and they got to get past this guy and you can't tell if he's good or he's bad. The way you look right now, you
thanks.
would be the star of like
Oh.
not the best movie, but like you would
A B
you
movie?
would- you would get a more prominent role. I think you look more
I'm gonna end this fucking interview.
like
in
a
second.
2 for 2 with these. What did we do last time with him?
You said that he would play in was it the W?
Oh yeah, I said
you-
it was funny that Bedard played in the WHL and you played in the OHL.
Skill league.
Absolutely
shit
should be
league.
the other way around.
Yeah.
But I meant that to say that you're a tough customer.
Thank
and
you.
Which Jones understood.
Yeah.
You took it the other way, threatened to storm out.
So that's twice now, eh? Two
Yes,
interviews? All
yeah,
right,
2 for
no
2.
problem.
Did you guys ask Pasta though? Like, what's this guy's deal?
Oh,
like,
that's what the question was.
Yeah, we really went off on a.
no, that's our
I
average
got
show.
rinsed for being bald. Pasta actually texted us and just said you're gonna love him, and I was like, yeah, it's just a nice thing to hear, right? You don't know much about. I knew in my interactions with him just from him being at camp and stuff. He seems like a great guy, but you don't really get much more time with the coach in that aspect. But yeah, he seemed great, and once you get that kind of vote of confidence from a guy who you really respect in the league, it's nice to hear, and you get excited about working with him. And
You guys excited for the Winter Classic?
Yeah.
yeah,
You
it'll
did
be
one?
awesome.
that was awesome. I
Yeah?
loved it. Yeah. Halsey, you had a nice apple in that game, no?
You fired
Yeah.
a million shots on net in that game. I remember.
Did I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you win a bet or something?
Oh, I don't think it was around back then. Yeah. No, I just.
It's a weird hockey game. It's a weird hockey
It
game.
is, but not to cut you. I just think if you take it for what it is, it's unbelievable. I think that's what, like, you have to get past.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I think people are like expecting it to be a normal hockey game, and it's not. It's like you're playing outside in the NHL. Just have fun with it. Like as much as it's a game that matters, it's just an awesome game. Like when do you really get this moment in time, right? We don't get this hockey's fun, don't get me wrong, but not that fun, right? Like in a normal game, you're outside. It's kind of hilarious. Like shit that goes on in the game is, if you're not enjoying it, I think that's where you get caught up.
No, I remember the day like very vividly. And we play at Wrigley, so Fenway and Wrigley, those are two pretty solid outdoor games. Like
Yeah.
I live 15-minute walk from Wrigley Field, so my family will just walk to the game, which is awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And there should be less pressure because nobody at the game can see what you guys are doing anyway. So you shouldn't be worried about how you perform.
That group though, like that year, that was. We look back, and there's moments, and that was a special group though. Like that made it all the more fun too. Like that was a fun team.
Yeah, you guys.
The
you guys
walk-in was
rocked.
fucking
That
with
was
you, right?
sick. Yeah, like that. I'm just thinking like the outfits that we got, the day. I don't know, the group that we had. It just made it all the more fun. Like we, getting in the hotel the night before and having it was fun.
Flew to LA the next day and
Yeah.
had rookie party.
Rookie party that night, yeah.
That was
That was
the
whirlwind.
best year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how much do you guys think back about that year and how it went? I mean, it was like, even in the moment as a fan, I was like, this is crazy. You guys were unbelievable, and like the vibe seemed so good. So how much do you reflect back on that?
Yeah, we fucked that up.
Yeah, fuck. I'm so pissed.
No,
We
We
that
talked
was-
about it
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
We talked about it because the other night when we played them, we all got in the room in the hallway after, because there were so many guys in our team that had played on Boston so it was like a huge reunion, and we all walked away like, God, we had something fucking special there. It's
Yeah.
just disappointing that you don't get it done. Like it really.
Now
kicks you.
you're like removed from it and you're like, man,
Yeah.
we should have won a cup. Like, it's too bad.
And that roster's never going to happen again.
That's
too.
enough.
It was impenetrable.
Yeah.
Like, especially adding Orlov. Like,
And I honestly,
Orlov was like a borderline afterthought on that team.
I literally, not to like, I knew Orly was a really good player, but he came in and was like really good for us.
Yeah,
like,
he came
I
in
was
and
like,
scored
First couple
goals.
games he scored.
Like
and
he
it
was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And great guy.
Do you, looking back on it, do you guys feel like it was slipping away as it was happening, or just were you like, we're good, we got this?
Game 5, we outshot them 40-20. They win in overtime on a bad bounce. Like Linus misplays a puck. He's a really good puck handler. I don't know, man. It's just the way.
Many,
and
like,
then
what's the one in overtime in the game 7 though? Off his shin pad right to like. How many times is it hits the shin pad and goes it goes right on the guy's
for them to tie it up,
right? Or whatever. Like I don't remember.
Yeah, they tied it up.
Bergie blocks it off his shin pad right on the tape. Right, like it's just like those are the bounces in hockey, but it's just like fuck. This is crazy, I don't think any of us ever thought maybe that's the fault. Like we just thought we were gonna get it done.
And you know what? Sean, our producer, is a Buffalo guy, is sitting here, and he's probably thinking, for every one of those, though, there's a Tom Brady completion, or there's a 2013 Bergeron in overtime coming down. You fell behind, 4-1, first shift of the third period, come back, win that game in overtime. Like, there are so many moments in Boston sports history where you're like, how did they pull that off? How did that happen? That was, like, just the other side of it. Like, what could go wrong did go wrong. Short of like, because it's not like a million guys got hurt. Obviously, Bergeron was banged up, but like you guys got through that round. I'm sure you've thought about this before, so I apologize. Like you're off to the races.
No, first round is the hardest round. It's just because any team feels like they can win. Like it's just you're like you psych yourself up. I've been on the other side where I've beat Tampa, and you're no business beating them either, right? But our team was really good, and you're like, all right, we're gonna do this. And so I think that's the hardest part, and we just didn't get it done. And it's kind of funny how it leapfrogged Florida too. Like they are now a powerhouse.
Yeah, good job. Well, you ruined the league.
well, and
No,
so that year, Chicago went into Pittsburgh. The last game of the year.
Yes,
Pittsburgh. If they just beat lowly Chicago, they're in the playoffs, and Florida's out, and we play Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, and I think Dub scored. Athanasiou scored 2 goals.
Sucker Dub.
And we play Florida, and I look at kind of advanced stat stuff, and I could see that Florida, like they had some good numbers. They just needed some good goaltending. And I was like, I'd much rather play Pittsburgh.
That's how they got in the playoffs to begin with, because it was Alex Lyon.
Yes,
over like the last month of the season was unbelievable and got them into the playoffs. So. Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I do have to ask you about the picture that McAvoy posted. It looked like you guys were at breakfast and you had beers. I asked Trent Frederick about it last year. I asked Trent Frederick
trying
about
to solve a murder. He has asked anybody involved in this picture.
Yeah, I asked Trent Frederick last year. He's like, you got to ask Fliggy. And so he put it on your desk.
Oh, it was just a night. It
wasn't breakfast, was it?
It was it was 6 a.m. or whatever.
So that was my theory. Was it wasn't breakfast? It was
a late night breakfast.
A late sleep happened.
It was Patrice Bergeron. We kind of knew, like, hey, this might be it for him, right? So when he's like, hey, we're going out, it was just like, yeah, we're going out. Like, so all of us jumped on. I don't know where the fuck you were.
Looking at advanced stats.
Yeah,
I was sleeping.
Yeah, I know you. I'm just saying that's bullshit.
Where was it?
In Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So we went out, and then we went out, and we were like, yeah, we're at the end of the night. I'm just saying, like, we just kept going, and then it was like, man, we're hungry. And we ended up at a Denny's. And
6 a.m. Bud Lights at a Denny's?
But it was, somebody ordered like a margarita. We were I think it was McAvoy.
That's a McAvoy
McAvoy,
thing.
yeah. He ordered
100%.
a margarita at Denny's, which we were like, what the hell is that, man?
No, that's so fucking cool to me.
Yeah.
6
I don't drink margaritas,
6
but
a.m. marks
power move.
Yeah. I just, it was just, that's what I mean, like that kind of a group. Like, it was just this, like, those are the kind of moments we got together. And it wasn't very often, but it was just, it was fun. It was actually hilarious because we had practice the next day, like that day. So we went back to the hotel, I think slept for a couple hours, practiced, and then we had a UFC fight that night.
Yeah.
And that was like, and then we had a game the next day. And so we went out to the UFC fight, had a great night, game the next day, beat Vegas. So it was a great trip.
What was Bergeron like cutting loose? I never caught any real whiffs of that in the Boston days.
He's awesome. Like
he's the best person and the nicest person.
Yeah,
but
no, but like when he cuts, he's just one of the boys.
He gets going. Yeah.
I mean, he won't drink anything besides like a Truly, and a vodka,
and a couple beers,
here and there. But yeah, he's.
After his thousandth point in Tampa. Yeah, we sent it pretty good, and you could tell he was like just really like enjoying it. And it's special when you see guys that like don't go out, like really want to go out. It's like
it gets you fired up.
Yeah.
And like,
it's
I think he appreciated the group too. Like I think he was just so excited to go out with it. Actually, funny story on that. I'll tell it. I don't care. Jake DeBrus like missed the bus. Remember that?
What?
Yeah, he missed the bus to go to the bar after, and he's gonna kill him. Well, that's actually a great story. He's in his game suit. He runs. It's got to be at least a couple miles.
Yeah.
He ran. He comes in. He's just pitted out everywhere, sweat in the back of his. The best part is that's the only suit he had for the whole trip. We're still going on. He wore it the next day. He's got like salt stains on the back.
God.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was wild. He was but he wouldn't miss it. So I was proud of him. He rallied.
That was what's the famous bar in Fort Lauderdale?
Elbow Room.
Oh,
yeah.
Good time.
We've taken up a lot of your time, but you guys are the best. You had a joint tribute video in Boston, so we wanted to do a joint interview with you too.
Pretty special. It was actually cool.
Lovely guys.
What great guys. Connor Bedard's 100th game tonight, by the way. We'll talk about that a little bit in the Slate Grade. Pretty interesting, huh? Got some numbers on that per our guys CHGO. Very interesting stuff. Nick Foligno's the best. He's always been supportive of our dumb stuff, and by that, he's willing to do it. Love that. But before we did the first interview with him, I showed him some of the Marchand stuff, and he was like, "Oh yeah, do this. If people don't like it, just
do it.
Do this. This is." So then we just fucked with him, and he's amazing. But Taylor Hall, who I hadn't seen in like 12 years and really didn't know what kind of just personality he'd become. He's
great
in a lot of ways, and like, don't make jokes, but he's like a Milan Lucic type in that he's encyclopedic about the game. I had no idea that he was like that.
Oh, I didn't know that he was like an analytics guy. I didn't know he was looking under the hood for like expected goals and stuff like that. You're right though. Like his memory was unbelievable. It was a big into like stats and nerdy stuff. So Taylor Hall's got some layers to him. Can't pass an open book test, but if you ask him about analytics, he's got you.
Amazing. Those guys are welcome anytime because their team helps them get on our podcast. And we want to get Kiefer Sherwood a while ago, and we just weren't able to make it happen. We're going to keep knocking on that door, though, because he rules. He had a big night last night. Here to tell you about it is What Chaos's own Pete Blackburn with a game report presented by me.
So you know that I love me some late night Canucks games, and what's better than a late night Canucks game that exclusively features Kiefer Sherwood goals on the Vancouver Canucks side. So next slide, please. Last night, final score, Kiefer Sherwood 3, Colorado Avalanche 1. Thank you, Sean. The cost of that production, Kiefer Sherwood making $1.25 million this year, and the Colorado Avalanche, a whopping cost of $96.4 million. Ooh, boy, what a bargain for Kiefer Sherwood. Next slide, Sean. It is Kiefer Sherwood's first career hat trick, and it had a whole lot of variety. As mentioned earlier, even strength goal, shorthanded goal, empty netter, the latter two unassisted. So he don't need no help. The shorthanded goal was unbelievable. Had an unbelievable step in the defensive zone, intercepts a pass, takeaway at the blue line, breakaway goal the other way. And you know me, my stance on hat tricks, they should be nullified if you get an empty netter, with the exception if it is scored on your own side of the ice or is unassisted.
I would also say that a shorthanded goal curries favor.
I was going to say, I feel like a shorthanded goal gets you a few extra points towards the points you lose for an empty netter.
Yes, it offsets an empty netter.
Yeah.
I think that if you have a shorthand, if you do a Sherwood hat trick, which famously is a shorthanded goal, even strength goal, an empty netter, that's just as valuable as like your Ovech. An Ovech trick is 8 empty net goals.
I
So
do
what am
think
talking about?
an empty netter also hits a little different when it is like the third of a variety of goals. Like he needed a third kind of goal because I guess it could have been a power play goal.
I mean,
but-
we didn't talk about the Scott Lawton hat trick, the 4-goal performance. 2 of those were
Yes.
empty netters.
But they were the only 4 goals for his team, which in this case, the only 3 goals for his team. If you have an empty netter in a 3-1 win, that's an important, hardered empty netter. That is one
to be
goal.
fair,
Like,
to be fair, the 1 goal was like inconsequential for the Avs. It was a meaningless goal. They scored, I
Garbage
believe,
time.
after the empty netter.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Well,
it
then
was
fuck this guy.
Also, Scott Lawton had a breakaway slapper for his first goal of those 4 goals. So
That's worth
anything
5
after
goals.
that, anything after that doesn't really
He
matter.
you start with a hat trick when you have a breakaway
Exactly.
slap shot goal.
Sean, go ahead, pull up the next slide. Let's get into some analytics. The fans chanted Kiefer Sherwood twice at Rogers Arena last night, and by the metrics, it was the loudest crowd moment of the regular season so far in my living room because I
Yeah.
turned the TV up all the way.
Ooh, I like
It was fucking electric. I was screaming last night. What a night of hockey. The Oilers game, fine. I'm happy for you, DJ, that you had a fun little time with that game.
Oh yeah, I had a very
this,
fun time.
This was my fucking Super Bowl. Next slide. 11 goals this season now for Kiefer Sherwood. It is a career high. He has only played 30 games this season. What a fucking king. Go ahead. He has more goals than 523 NHL players across the league. He is second on his team in goals. He has more goals than reigning Rocket Richard winner Austin Matthews, a former 69 goal scorer. He also has more hits than fucking everyone. And by a wide margin, 58 more hits than the next closest guy on the list, who happens to be Mark Kaslick, brought up earlier in the show.
So that is amazing that he can score 3 goals without ever having the puck. That is impressive. That guy
No,
just
he gets the puck. He hits, he gets the puck, and then he scores.
Nice.
Yeah. Bob was talking about earlier the type of player that Vasily Podkolzin is. He is a puck retriever. He's kind of like a junkyard dog. Will go get it. The only difference is Kiefer Sherwood goes and gets it for himself, and then
Love
he scores.
that. A regular Pyotr Kochekov.
And then finally, we talked about this morning, time to buy some stocks. If you have not bought stocks on Kiefer Sherwood yet, you still have time to do so. I know the price is higher than it's ever been, but I would still recommend it. That guy fucking rules.
It's still going up.
Should have got in on the ground floor like me. But
yeah, I was going to say.
Best
I
time
said before
to
the
plant
show.
a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time to plant a tree is today. You think that stocks are still going up, so it's still a good time to buy?
he is like the most important player on that team that is not named Quinn Hughes.
He's just beginning his ascent?
Yes.
Okay, so fear not. Buy stocks now. Great game report. Unbelievable game report. We now know all there is to know about. No, we don't know all there is to know about Kiefer Sherwood because he still hasn't come on the podcast. But
I don't think that you'll ever know all that there is to know about Kiefer Sherwood because he seems like a very reserved kind of guy. He keeps to himself until he takes the puck from you.
give me a Japanese American junkyard dog player on What Chaos. Isn't that all we dream about?
Pretty much.
He's awesome. Love Kiefer Sherwood. Just good night for Pete last night, Pete's guys, because he was in on Pod Colson and he was in on Kiefer Sherwood before anybody else. And I'll say that in the case of Pod Colson, he was in on Pod Colson after everybody got out on him because you were in on him when everybody initially got in on him. And you just never left.
Yeah, that's true. It's not apples to apples there. I just stuck with my belief. I held.
Yes, you held.
He still has GameStop.
I'm holding.
I mean, I get emails all the time that's like an offer has been made on your Joe Burrow moment. And I'm like, I forget what that was. I remember doing whatever that thing was, but I didn't sell whatever stuff I bought there, and I just have it now, and I'm going to forget about it forever. I've already forgotten whatever my passkey thing is, and I know that if you ever forget that, there's no way you can retrieve it. I'm going to be that guy who has the guy that has like 1 million Bitcoin in a landfill.
Mm-hmm. No password, yeah.
They're going to be like, you mean he had a Series 2 common Joe Burrow moment?
And
you had a Joe Burrow handoff? And
you know how many Fubo subscriptions you can buy with that now?
As many Fubo subscriptions as I'm still buying. Let's do some 3 stars. 3 stars, obviously, Kiefer Sherwood 1. Pete for doing a Kiefer Sherwood game report. Just a great pick of Kiefer Sherwood there. Amazing stuff. How about this? Jets 2024 4th-round pick Kevin He has signed his entry-level contract with Winnipeg, and in doing so, has become the first Chinese-born player to sign an NHL contract. We absolutely love it. Pete, you said somebody in the Discord said, he is him.
Yes. Our pal Benacieto said, he is him, which I believe that's going to stick.
Terrific. Also, I got to give a star to this person. Somebody bedazzled a hockey jersey with googly eyes after saying they were going to do it. They posted it. This person's name is Mick and tweeted, bedazzling my hockey jerseys, but instead of rhinestones, it's googly eyes. And if you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe, of course. And if you are not, please watch on YouTube and subscribe. There is a Buffalo Sabres goat head, Jeff Skinner, with the 53 googly eyeified. And I am not kidding. I love it. Both of Sean's hands are off the keyboard in the classic Sean stance. Give it to me. What do you have?
I mean, we all have an extra jersey.
Oh, that's
just crossed my. I literally just thought about it.
Due to a shipping order, we might have doubles of some jerseys that we've.
Here's my favorite part of this whole thing is that they took possibly the most intimidating jersey in the entire National Hockey League. And first of all, made it less intimidating by getting Jeff Skinner on the back. And then further to that point, Google-eyeing the Jeff Skinner jersey to make it the least intimidating Buffalo Sabres goat head jersey that has ever existed.
And at first I was like, why did they post a picture of the front of the jersey? Like, it's nothing there. And then I realized there is a googly eye in the red eye of the goat head. And that is the best feature to me.
Okay, Pete. I have to ask a question that some people in the chat are probably thinking. I think the answer to this question is no, but was your take there a Saturday Night Live reference?
No.
There is a famous sketch in which they say, and now a gardener who is afraid of plants, and it's Christopher Walken, and he's like, hello, I have a hard time with plants. I didn't even think he says like they're intimidated. He's like, so what I do with them is I took this cactus and I put some googly eyes on it, and now it's less scary. And he goes from plant to plant, and he's like, to make this one less scary, I've affixed some googly eyes, and he's just surrounded by plants that have googly eyes all over them. And clearly this sketch was written where like backwards, where they were like, all right, so Christopher Walken says googly eyes a bunch of times. Why would Christopher Walken say it's amazing? But without having seen that, I would have never considered that googly eyes soften a scary thing. So googly eyes on a Sabres jersey that has already been Jeff Skinnerified is incredible.
I will say Randy Lee is kind of making a point that I agree with. It's like that many googly eyes kind of creeps me out, especially if you were to see it in action with all the little eyes bouncing around as you're walking. It'd be a little creepy.
I think there is a tipping point with googly eyes where they become they transfer from fun and goofy to like this is creepy,
a little unsettling. Yeah.
But at what point during the Sabres losing streak, like what number does it have to hit before they have to try this and affix googly eyes to their jerseys?
Sean, I think, am I telling tales out of school? I think Sean might be going to a hockey game on Saturday.
Oh.
What if we do, bag over the head, googly eyes over the eyes. You cut out the eyes so you could see. You put huge ass googly eyes over those holes so you can't see anymore, but you got googly eyes.
And on top of that, you don't have to watch the Sabres.
I was gonna say I won't be able to see the game, but I don't know that that's a bad thing.
That would be the real transition for Sabres fans. Like bag over the head with no eyes cut out. It's like I do not want to watch the
intensity with which DJ just dropped his phone and went to his laptop suggests to me that he is up to something.
Yeah,
But yes, I
he's
would
doing the show thumbnail. I can guarantee it. Adding
googly eyes to
adding
every
googly
single thing on the
eyes.
thumbnail.
Yes.
That's probably a good read.
Sean, I got glasses for you on Saturday. Could you please throw those up there? These are described
Glasses?
as I love.
The problem is that if I wear other kinds of glasses, I can't see anything.
You would otherwise be seeing the Buffalo Sabres play hockey,
I was gonna
Sean.
say, doesn't sound like a problem.
I feel like Pete and I are like up to speed on this, and you're just tailing a little bit. The description, as Sean will put it up: spooktacular creations, 3 pieces, Halloween eyeball glasses, amusingly wiggly eyes glasses, funny glasses, shaking eyeball glasses, silly glasses for kids, men, women, Halloween party, funny costume, accessories, $6.99.
I love how in you are on the SEO Amazon titles.
The other thing is that if I am at this Sabres game, no one's going to understand what the fuck is going on here. Like, not a single person there is going to be like, yeah, this guy's ashamed watching the Buffalo Sabres. And they're like,
They'll see you. You'll be wearing a Sabres jersey. I think they'll be confident you're ashamed.
Sean, I think you underestimate how many people listen to the show.
I mean, no, I would assume basically any time I'm at the Garden, I get recognized by somebody at this point. But I don't think like the masses are going to be like, why is he wearing googly eye glasses? Not that I'm not saying I have this as a problem. I think it's funny that most of the people are going to be like, this guy's ashamed to be a Sabres fan, and also he's got these glasses on.
Very good chance of getting on TV just based off of a cameraman being like, what the fuck is going on here?
That is a good point.
Coming back from like a commercial break, showing you, like, that's big viral moment. You could have your big moment.
I will have to get a new paper bag because the one that I did last time was very haphazardly thrown together and a little too small.
What if I like stand on the glass during warm-ups with a sign that's like, I only have eyes for, I don't know, like Morgan Geeky, and I'm wearing the googly eyes, and he comes over and he's like,
DJ?
I don't get it. Why are you wearing spooktacular creations, 3 pieces, Halloween eyeball glasses, amusingly wiggly eye glasses, funny glasses, shaking eyeball glasses, silly glasses for kids, men, women, Halloween party, funny costume, accessories. Googly eyes.
Are there? I feel like if we're doing this, we got to lean in. I feel like I also need an inflatable palm tree.
Oh,
Ooh.
I mean,
you would be able to get it in the building because it's in Boston.
I would be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I feel like if you brought that into the Sabres, what is it, KeyBank?
Yeah.
They might stop you at the door. I know that they're having they're taking big issues with the palm trees.
I mean, I think I'm not going in with it inflated. Like you got to blow that up in the building. But yeah. Oh yeah, the Bruins go down 5-0 or up 5-0 on the Sabres in the first period. On the ice that goes.
Oh, what if Alex Googlyayev, you fix Alex Georgiev, just put googly eyes on him.
I don't know.
I think that
Don't think Georgiev was the problem. Just saying.
Mackenzie Blackwood, how you do last night? I don't know. You get worked by Kiefer Sherwood?
Yeah, but he got worked by the best player in the National Hockey League.
That's
no
true.
shame in that.
We have a report on that.
That's right.
Pete, if you could hit it. What a show. What a fun time. Let's grade some slates. Could we please, Sean? We have, oh my God, what am I looking at? Am I looking at 10 games?
10 games on December the 17th, not the 16th.
All right. I have done no research on who has played for which team, so we're going to have to raw dog this. Sabres at Canadian, 7 p.m.
Danny Briere Bowl.
Eastern. That's a Danny Briere Bowl. Yes, it is. That is a...
Is that a Zach Bogosian Bowl? Zach Bogosian played for the...
Did
I make that up?
I don't know if he's played for the Canadians.
I don't think he got to the Canadians. Let's see. Player... have played... Anyway.
No, he is not.
At 7 p.m. Eastern, we have a Blue Jackets at Lightning Bowl. Do we have anybody there? Can we get anybody there? Anyone?
Has Duke made it to the Blue Jackets?
No.
We'd
know that.
I know.
Come on. And he
had to
wouldn't
throw
have
it out
known
there.
about Stinger.
Yeah, damn. I feel like there should be a lot of crossover there. For some reason. I mean, it's the John Tortorella Bowl.
Yes, it's obviously a John Tortorella Bowl. Oh, wait. I'm getting a Anthony Duclair.
Yeah, okay.
Wait,
I
he played for the Blue Jackets?
I was going to say, I felt like that had happened at some point.
Was it a half-season thing? Cam Atkinson, yep.
53 games in 2019. No. Anthony Duclair was not on that team that swept the Lightning and then lost to the Bruins in the second round? Apparently he was.
Damn, what the hell?
I mean,
Somebody knows.
I guess we don't know puck.
Famously, we're not
Sean knows
numbers
puck.
guys.
Yeah.
We want people to argue for and against
So
numbers and
no,
see
I
what
don't
shakes
think.
out.
I do not think he was on the Black. I think he was on the Blue Jackets for the beginning half of that season, and then he got sent to Ottawa in the second half. So it says in 2018-19 he played for 2 teams.
Oh.
Blue Jackets, played 53 with the Blue Jackets and 21 with the Ottawa Senators.
Well, I can
Did you
give
get traded for Matt Duchene?
I can try to figure that out.
The Kings Penguins is a Jeff Carter Bowl.
It's a Jeff Carter Bowl. It's a Jerome McGinley Bowl. That's a
Yeah.
yeah.
We got 2 Jerome McGinley Bowls tonight.
Yes, we do have one coming up in a little bit. We also have the Carolina Hurricanes hosting the New York Islanders at 7:30 p.m. and it looks like that is a national game? Yeah, that's
Yep,
ESPN.
ESPN and Hulu.
It's going to be a National Doug Weight Bowl. And it's going to be a don't tell me it's going to be a shoot.
By the way, Anthony Duclair was traded to the Ottawa Senators along with 2 second-round picks for Ryan Dzingel.
Dzingel. Oh,
You know
man. What
this
a
is
deal.
an interesting one.
What a
This
deal for the
is
Sens.
a game in which the person broadcasting the game is broadcasting their own bowl. Possibly. That's a Ray Ferraro Bowl.
Wow.
Okay. Devils at the Blues.
Also, real quick, Islanders Hurricanes seems like Hurricanes versus Islands in the real world. Pretty tough matchup for the Islanders.
The Devils at the Blues, 8 p.m. Eastern. That is, of course, a Martin Brodeur Bowl.
Sure is.
And at 9 p.m., is that 9 or 8:30? That's 8:30. It's 8 p.m. I'm sorry. The Rangers at Predators in a Brady Shea Bowl, of course. The Capitals at the Blackhawks, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I do want to tell you about that one because it is Connor Bedard's 100th game. Connor Bedard, through 99 games, more points than through 99 games. Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, John Tavares. How about this? Steven Stamkos, Taylor Hall, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and yes, Nathan McKinnon.
Damn. Well, that's not that
Yeah,
surprising. 'cause
McKinnon wasn't a dog yet.
Well, he was also on like one of the worst teams of all time.
Players with more points than him through 99 games. You got Austin Matthews, 90. Patrick Kane, 96. By the way, he has 87 points in 99 games. Connor McDavid, 108. Alexander Ovechkin, 128. What an absolute psycho. And Sidney Crosby, 132 through 100 games. Incredible. Let's see some more games, if you would, Sean. The Bruins and Flames, it's going to be a Jerome McGinley Bowl. How about that?
It's a Nikita Zadorov Bowl.
It was supposed to be a Matt Bartkowski Bowl, but the Flames didn't accept that trade. So
Yeah, true. Elias Lindholm Bowl.
a Dan Vladar Bowl.
Dan Vladar Bowl.
That's a good one. Did Vladar ever play a game for the Bruins?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, let's hope. The Senators at the Kraken. That is going to be I'm not sure. 10 p.m. Jets at the Sharks is going to be a Tyler Toffoli Bowl.
Yep.
It's a nice little Tyler Toffoli Bowl. This is, and there's no, I'm not seeing a clear headliner is my problem.
That is a very, very astute observation.
I mean,
You're missing one. I was like, oh yeah,
No.
maybe I am if you've given me, but.
I feel like the Sabres Canadians
well,
has to be.
disaster.
Oh,
Exactly.
yes.
I mean, that's a big. This might be the tipping point.
I mean, you can tune in early, watch the Sabres Canadians in the Someone's Gotta Win Bowl. Famously, Terry Pagula will be watching that game. If you want to watch the Kings eat, they're playing the Penguins, although the Penguins have been better of late.
I can't believe I didn't think of this. Chat pointed out Senators Kraken is a Jody Cord Bowl.
Cord Bowl. That's
Obviously.
right. I forgot that he was on the Senators team.
Jets at Sharks is an Evander Kane Bowl.
Yes.
Bad job from us, but we had a really good show today. We just lost a little bit of steam. Hey, I'm giving this one an A-. Not every day can be a Monday odd-structured 3-gamer that is an A. This is a watchable slate. We're going to have some fun stuff to talk about tomorrow, but without an obvious headliner.
West Side Story Bowl, Jets Sharks.
Oh,
Banger.
Great job.
that's amazing. Terrific. Yep. Devin Sotoguchi Bowl. Okay. Amazing stuff. Thank you to Bob Stauffer for joining. He is our dear friend and we love him. And also Nick Foligno and Taylor Hall. Pete killed it with the presentation and the game report on the Kiefer Sherwood hat trick. Anything else anybody has before we send these nice folks home?
I don't think so.
like spike, second like spike. Make sure
Yeah.
you're subscribed, sharing with friends. Anything you see on the internet, just
Double down.
share.
Hit
Share.
that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.